Hello guys and welcome to today's video, and for today we're going to be talking about Tropical Cyclone Halima. This is located in the southwest Indian Ocean, and as you can see it's starting to get its act together today as they put out the update not too long ago. This is located at 12.7 south, 75.9 east. Maximum sustained winds are at 45 knots or 50 miles an hour. Minimal central pressure is at 997 millibars. So this is starting to get itself together here pretty quickly, and it's shrimping. When you see it starting to shrimp up, that means it's gonna start to do some wonders here, in relatively short order. But I do think that this is a little bit higher than 50 miles per hour. We're just going to have to wait and see, what happens here as we get some more updates on this system. So here is the Joint Typhoon Warning Center's advisory package here. And as you can see, they only have this going up to 85 knots, which is about 100 miles an hour or so. I do think this is a little bit conservative, but, they we're just gonna have to see what happens with this. This is not the actual official forecast. It's by the MFR that does those updates for Halima. All right, so now we're gonna take a look at the GEFS tracks and minimal Mslp, and as you can see, this does get pretty strong. There's some 970s, 960s, there's some 950s traveling in there. But what you see here in this black line, this is the average of everything that you see here, all this spaghetti mess here. And as you can see, the peak here is about 975 millibars. So that's, like I said, that's only just an average of what you see here. I do personally believe it'll probably get between 960 and the low 950s, in my opinion, as we go out through time. All right, so here's the GEPS tracks and minimal Mslp, and we say this all the time. The GEPS is always lowballing systems. That it shouldn't be lowballing. As you can see, we got thousands, 990s. We got a little bit of 980 action going on, but as you can see from the average, it looks like that the peak intensity here from the average is only going to be 991 millibars. All right, so now we're going to take a look here at infrared satellite here, and you can see the shrimpiness that is coming about here. So this is probably doing its thing right now. We don't know by how much it's doing its thing, but it's starting to do its thing. What we're looking for now is we're going to start looking for vertical hot towers to start rotating around a core here, and that's what's probably going to set it off here soon. If it starts to wrap down shear, so we're going to see if this forms an eye relatively quickly. Probably not tonight, but sometime maybe overnight or going into the day tomorrow. This could very well be trying to form an eye in that 12-hour time frame, just about maybe 12 to 18 hours. That's give or take some. But as you can see, this is looking pretty good for what it is right now. So I'm gonna definitely pay attention to this. Obviously, this isn't gonna affect any land whatsoever. This is an out-to-sea storm. I love to cover out-to-sea storms. So even if it doesn't affect land, I'm still gonna make these updates for you guys, just to show you guys the evolution of the system. All right, so here we are. We're looking at the sea surface temperatures here, and as you can see, we got plenty of warmth where the system is. We've got some 29s and 30s, scattered around the system. So this water is plenty warm enough to sustain a major cyclone that some models have this becoming, which I'll show here shortly. So no short supply of warm waters here whatsoever for this. All right, so now we're going to take a look at the 12Z GFS here. This was notified at 12Z, like I said, and this is 6 hours from now, 18Z, which is already past 800 or 988 millibars. Why was I thinking about 800 something millibars? Okay, so as we can see, the relative humidity really isn't all that great, but the shear is pretty good though. 10 knots of shear. That's pretty good for a tropical cyclone. So now we're going to go out 24 hours from now, 978, and I think we might have a better story here. 5 knots of shear, 61% relative humidity. That's That's kind of so. So now we're gonna go 48 hours. Now you're gonna have to say you gotta think that relative humidity is gonna be decent now, right? We're gonna see 16 knots of shear and 69% relative humidity. So even the shear is starting to go up, and the relative humidity hasn't gone up much at all at this point. So now 72 hours, 960. 7 knots of shear and 64% relative humidity. So the relative humidity is not climbing at all. It's staying kind of steady at where it's at least according to the GFS for the 12Z run. So here it is 96 hours, 21 knots of shear, 52% relative humidity. So yeah, this is going to start weakening from here. Obviously, maybe not as quickly as I would have thought. Now, maybe this is a faulty run. I don't know. 21 knots of shear and 52% relative humidity. This should definitely not be anything 973. So, I don't know. That may be a broken run. We're just going to have to see how everything pans out through the next 5 days. All right, so now we're going to take a look at the European initialized at 12Z today. And we're going to go 24 hours out. 24. We got 988. And usually European is lowballing systems. So this could be interesting. 4 knots of shear and 65% relative humidity. At least the shear is lower than the GFS, so that could be a plus. We're going to go 48 hours, 977. 13 knots of shear, and the relative humidity is definitely better here than the GFS. 72, 967 is starting to get going here. So that's 2 models showing a major cyclone here. 18 knots of shear and 68% relative humidity. So we're going to go out a little bit farther. 96 hours. I think that's 967. I could be wrong. 28 knots of shear and 51% relative humidity. So it looks like the European is on board with the GFS in terms of later analysis here. So now we are at 120 hours. 36 knots of shear and 48% relative humidity. This storm is definitely not going to last long in that type of environment. That is for sure. All right, so now our last stop for today is we're going to be looking at here at the European here. This was initialized at 12Z. And as you can see, 998 millibars. So we're going to go 24 hours out. We are at 985. 5 knots of shear and 88% relative humidity. So the H-Wharf definitely loves this more than the European and the GFS. So now we're here at 960. And 13 knots of shear and 89% relative humidity, which is still good. 72 hours. This is peak. This is peak Halima. Let's see. 8 knots shear and 89% relative humidity, so it's still good so far. 96 hours. As you can see, it's still in the 940s, so it's keeping steady at this point. 19 knots of shear and 81% relative humidity, so it's going to start to weaken here because of that hiring shear here. And now we're going to take a look at our last thing here. 21 knots shear and 82% relative humidity. The relative humidity here on the H-Wharf is pretty decent, while the wind shear is the major factor here on this model run. Anyways, with that being said, obviously this is not going to be any threat to land whatsoever. This is just going to be a beautiful storm that we can all, watch together for the next, however many days. I am going to be back again tomorrow with another update on Halima to see, just to do a follow-up on how it has been doing in the next 24 hours. With that being said, I want to thank you guys for watching. I'll be back again with you guys tomorrow for another update on Halima. Have a nice day.